位记者朋友，大家下午好。
Good afternoon. Welcome to the press conference. Now questions, please.
谢谢发言人。中新社记者提问：王毅外长昨天对新西兰进行了正式访问，发言人能否进一步
China News Service, do you have more information to share from Minister Wang Yi's visits to New Zealand yesterday? On March 18, member of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee and Foreign Minister Wang Yi visited New Zealand. Prime Minister of New Zealand, Christopher Luxon, met with Foreign Minister Wang Yi. Wang Yi also held talks with Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of New Zealand, Winston Peters, and met with New Zealand's Minister for Trade, Todd McLeay. Wang Yi expressed that since China and New Zealand established diplomatic relations, bilateral relations have enjoyed sound momentum of development, mutual respect, inclusiveness, focusing on cooperation and bring benefits to the people are the valuable lessons from the development of bilateral relations. This year marks the 10th anniversary of President Xi Jinping's state visit to New Zealand and the comprehensive strategic partnership between the two countries. China is ready to work with New Zealand to carry forward the pioneering spirit and achieve more firsts so as to keep China-New Zealand relations at the forefront of China's relations with developed countries. This benefits our two peoples and will make new contribution to world peace and development. Wang Yi pointed out that the Chinese economy will continuously inject new momentum into the world economy and will bring new opportunities for New Zealand. China is willing to join hands with New Zealand to actively implement the upgraded version of China-New Zealand Free Trade Agreement, launch consultations and negotiations on the negative list of trading services, and take cooperation between the two countries to a new level. China welcomes New Zealand's continued participation in Belt and Road cooperation. Wang Yi noted that both countries are participants and contributors of the existing international system and international order. The two countries champion multilateralism, support the core role of the UN, and are committed to resolving international disputes through peaceful means. China stands ready to work with New Zealand to enhance solidarity and cooperation, oppose Cold War mentality, unilateralism, protectionism, reject acts of turning back the wheel of history, and safeguard the right course of human progress. The New Zealand side said that New Zealand-China relations are very important. The comprehensive strategic partnership between the two countries has provided important driving force. New Zealand will continue to adhere to the One China policy and is willing to further strengthen high-level exchange with China, deepen cooperation in areas of economy and trade, education, cultural exchange, and climate response to move forward bilateral relations for greater development. The upgraded version of China-New Zealand Free Trade Agreement is of exemplary significance. The two countries should make joint efforts to defend the principle of free trade, resist protectionism and unilateralism. New Zealand welcomes Chinese students and entrepreneurs to invest and operate in the country. The two sides reached broad-based common understandings on practical cooperation across the board and agreed to build intergovernmental dialogues in areas of foreign policy, trade, consular affairs, South Pacific affairs, climate change, human rights, and to maintain active communication on China's accession into the Digital Economy Partnership Agreement and the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership. As agreed by both sides, New Zealand's Minister for Trade will visit China in April. After Foreign Minister Wang Yi's visit to New Zealand, the two sides will achieve mutual visits of foreign ministers in this year. The two sides also agreed to have more high-level exchanges. Next question, please.
谢谢。哪一位？中华卫视。China Arab TV. Today marks the 164 days of the outbreak of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, which killed over 31.7 thousand Palestinians and injured 37.7 thousand. Yesterday, Israel launched a military operation against the largest hospital in Gaza, Shifa Hospital, and Israel also arrested Palestinian journalists. And every time people in Gaza were killed, what's your comment?
The conflict in Gaza has dragged on for 5 months, resulting in severe humanitarian situation. The difficulty in the hospital is an example of the difficulties in Gaza. The top priority now is to cease fighting, stop fighting, and protect civilians. Various parties of the international community should make more efforts and take more concrete actions to this end. Next question, please.
The question from Bloomberg.
彭博社，美国国务卿批评中国在南海的挑衅行为，重申美国对于菲律宾的安全承诺。外交部对于国务卿布林肯的言论是否有何评论？
美国不是南海问题的当事人。
The U.S. is not a party to the South China Sea issue and has no right to intervene in the maritime issues between China and the Philippines. The military cooperation between the U.S. and the Philippines should not undermine China's sovereignty and maritime rights and interests in the South China Sea. Still less should the U.S. support the Philippines' illegal claims through military cooperation. China will continue to take necessary measures to safeguard its territorial sovereignty and maritime rights and interests and protect peace and stability in the South China Sea. Next question, please.
环球时报记者提问：据报道，靖国神社宣布，前海上自卫队海军将官大冢海夫将于4月1日出任靖。
Yasukuni Shrine announced that Yumio Otsuka, former admiral of Japan's Maritime Self-Defense Force, will assume the post of the 14th priest, the highest-ranking position. It's the first time to do so, was China's comment. The Yasukuni Shrine is a spiritual tool and symbol of Japanese militarists' war of aggression. It honors 14 convicted Class A war criminals with grave responsibilities for the war crimes committed during that war of aggression. Not long ago, several Japanese defense officials visited the shrine, and now a former admiral will, for the first time, assume the post of the Yasukuni Shrine's priest. These negative moves once again show the Japanese side's wrong attitude toward the history of aggression. China urges Japan to face up to and reflect on the history of aggression, take concrete measures to make a clean break with militarism, and avoid further losing the trust of its Asian neighbors and the international community. Next question, please.
俄罗斯卫星突厥社提问。
Sputnik. Western media reported that if Russia doesn't engage in the negotiation, China is not going to attend the Ukraine peace conference held in Switzerland. What's your comment?
问题上。
On the Ukraine issue, China's position is just and objective. We are committed to promoting peace talks. China supports holding in due course a international conference that is participated by both sides and can be accepted by all sides. Next question, please.
Thank you. Question from RIA Novosti. U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations.
近日，俄罗斯美国驻联合国大使格林菲尔德周一表示，美国随时准备与中俄进行双边军控谈判，没有任何前提。中方对此有何评论？中方是否准备加入这一谈判？
中美在军控。
China and the U.S. have dialogue channels on arms control and nuclear non-proliferation. The U.S. should stop microphone diplomacy in terms of international arms control. The top priority now is that the country that has the biggest nuclear arsenal should perform its special and primary responsibility of nuclear disarmament and substantially and substantively reduce its nuclear armament and create favorable conditions for other nuclear weapon states to join the multilateral negotiations. This is also an international consensus.
法新社提问。
AFP. Former Prime Minister of Australia said that he would have a meeting with Foreign Minister Wang Yi. He once criticized Penny Wang's statement. He said that Penny Wang overstated the military threat of China. What's your comment on the meeting between the two leaders, whether it will influence the China-Australia relations, and what other information can you share with us?
澳大利亚的
On Foreign Minister Wang Yi's visit to Australia, China will release information in due course. Please stay tuned.
下一个问题，
Next question, please.
Question from Bloomberg.
彭博社，中国大使王克俭和哈马斯政治局主席见面，在卡塔尔举行会面，您能否给予更多的细节？关于王克俭大使和哈马斯政治局主任的会面。
提到的这场活动，
On the events you mentioned, China has released the information which you may refer to. Next question, please.
发言人您好，人民日报社记者提问：当前加沙冲突仍在持续，我们注意到巴勒斯坦总统阿巴。
People's Daily, the conflict in Gaza is still raging on. The Palestinian president, Mohammed Abbas, appointed Mustafa as the new prime minister. What's your comment? China congratulates Mr. Mustafa on taking office as the new prime minister of Palestine. Any arrangement concerning the future and destiny of Palestine must follow the principle of the Palestinians governing Palestine and fully reflect the Palestinians' aspiration. We support the Palestinian Authority in enhancing its authority and effectively controlling all of Palestine's territory, and support all political factions in Palestine in achieving internal reconciliation through dialogue. China stands ready to work with all parties to de-escalate the current tensions and bring the Palestinian issue back to the right track of the two-state solution. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。路透社记者提问
Reuters. The newly elected so-called Vice President BEIJING has arrived in the Czech Republic and will speak to the think tank there. What's your comment?
台湾
First of all, Taiwan is a province of China. There is no so-called vice president of Taiwan. China strongly opposes official interaction of any form between China's Taiwan region and countries that have diplomatic relations with China. This position is consistent and clear. Uphold the One China principle, respect China's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and recognize that Taiwan is an inalienable part of China's territory is the solemn commitment made by the government of the Czech Republic in multiple official documents, including the joint statements and communique between the two governments. China urges the Czech Republic to follow its commitment, strictly restrict the moves of certain politicians of undermining the national credibility of the Czech Republic and its relations with China. We urge it to take effective measures to undo the negative influence. Our message to Taiwan independence elements and relevant sides is that whoever engage in Taiwan independence will be held accountable by history. Whoever in the world creates One China, One Taiwan will get burned for playing with fire and taste the bitter fruits.
From Associated Press of Pakistan.
巴通社，上周，巴基斯坦总理谢里夫会见中国驻巴大使，接受了新华社采访。他表示，巴基斯坦希望中巴经济合作走廊进入下一阶段。您对此有何评论？
China commends Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's positive remarks. The CPEC is an important flagship project of the Belt and Road Initiative. A batch of early harvests of cooperation have been achieved in such areas of ports, transportation infrastructure, energy and industry. Last year, the two sides held a grand celebration events to mark the 10th anniversary of the launch of CPEC. Leaders of the two countries reached new important common understandings on high-quality development of CPEC. China stands ready to work with Pakistan to follow the guidance of important common understandings reached by the leaders, build a growth corridor, livelihood-enhancing corridor, an innovation corridor, a green corridor, and an open corridor, continue to deepen cooperation in various areas, foster new growth points and impetus, and build an upgraded CPEC to deliver greater benefits to the two peoples. Next question, please.
AFP knew that in Western Japan, in Kobe Kagun University, Professor Hu Shiyun, teaching Chinese classics, went missing after he returned to China. Do you have more information to share with us?
I do not have information on that. Next question, please. Any more questions?
那记者会到此结束。
That's the end of today's press conference. Thank you for coming.